alternatives and preferred alternatives and any potential impacts, including impacts to existing utility rates. At this juncture, I would like to invite Nathan from Varela to give us an overview of the perfect passage, and you guys can follow along on page, I believe it starts, well, it's not numbered, but it's the page that has the blue writing on it.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Nathan Hutchins. I'm with Varela Engineering and Management.
Nathan, hold
working
on
with-
one second. Can you guys hear him? Can you talk a little louder, Nathan?
Yeah, is this loud enough?
Or could you
Maybe we
please,
can-
one second, Mr. Gardner, could you please turn up? Give us 1 second.
Is that what Joel's doing?
Okay, can you try, sir? Speak, Nathan, test.
Testing.
How's that?
Testing.
He sounds. Yeah, he
Can you
sounds-
hear me?
Can the folks in the back hear him? Okay. We have the speakers here and there should be another speaker over there. I want to make sure folks hear. Okay, go ahead, Nathan.
All right, yeah, thank you. So as I was saying, my name is Nathan Hutchins. I'm with Varela Engineering and Management, working with the city. Currently in the design phases of the Perfect Passage project. Personally, I am taking lead on the environmental clearances of the project, and with the Department of Ecology funding, a public hearing is necessary, and so I have a few topics to run through here, and if you have the handout, you can follow along with me, and then there'll be an opportunity for public comment afterwards. So what is the purpose of the Perfect Passage project, or the US 97 Whitcomb Avenue downtown redevelopment project? As many of you know, there's a considerable flooding hazard in downtown, primarily along the businesses. So this project is aimed at reducing and eliminating the flooding hazard in the downtown and treating that stormwater prior to discharge. There's also inadequate and inconsistent sidewalks throughout town, curb and gutter that doesn't have sufficient reveal, meaning that the asphalt's too high, and non-complying ADA ramps. There's also old utilities underneath the roadway. That's water and sewer. So the project will also replace these old, aging, and likely at the end of their service life utilities. Additionally, other upgrades include overhead power poles, communications, conduits, lighting. So it's a really comprehensive development, taking into consideration the stormwater deficiencies and the roadway itself. So technical considerations, this project has been in development for several years. The transportation and road alignment, or rather the road striping, improvement alternatives were identified in the 2019 redevelopment master plan. During that time, the city performed various public outreach programs throughout that 2019 redevelopment master plan process. So the alternatives can be found within that document. the stormwater improvements, which are a major component of this project. The alternatives were analyzed in the city's 2021 stormwater plan. That stormwater plan was submitted to Ecology and approved. Within that plan, several alternatives were considered for conveyance and treatment of the stormwater in the downtown. Alternative one was the do nothing alternative. That would be no action on conveyance of the stormwater. This alternative represents the least short-term cost, yet the highest maintenance cost and risk cost. Possible action by Ecology in the future for untreated discharges, and possible liability by the city for continuing flooding in the downtown area. Moving on, the second alternative considered for stormwater was using bioinfiltration swales. However, there's a lack of available land area in the downtown corridor. So there'd be a high cost to procure land, construction and maintenance throughout the life cycle of the swales. However, it did not rule out localized use of bioinfiltration swales for stormwater infiltration and treatment. The third alternative was stormwater filters. These represented the highest cost. And stormwater improvement alternative number 4, hydrodynamic separators. This is the chosen alternative, least footprint, lower cost. It provides treatment to the stormwater. Also included in these improvements will be an upsize of the existing stormwater conveyance system to accept the stormwater flows for which the existing system is undersized. No land acquisition is required for this chosen utility and transportation improvement alternative. So those are the technical considerations. The environmental considerations. The city is currently going through the NEPA, SEPA, and SERP process. Those are each triggered by the funding that has been awarded to the city for this project. So potential environmental impacts of the project include: the city does not currently provide stormwater treatment. The selected alternatives will provide a retrofit to the stormwater system and will provide pre-treatment to stormwater flows prior to discharge to area water bodies. So water quality will be improved as a result of this project. The existing stormwater system is almost entirely contained in existing right-of-way and roads, as will the improvement alternatives. Construction outside of right-of-ways and disturbance of natural areas is not expected. The project is replacement of existing utilities in previously disturbed areas. The project replaces existing water and wastewater utilities, which are old and at the end of their useful life. The project will replace the old portion of the water and sewer mains within the project area. Transportation improvements include installing new ADA ramps, curb extensions, and overhead pedestrian lighting, which will provide safety measures throughout the downtown corridor for pedestrians. And as I mentioned, the city is currently undergoing NEPA and cultural review of the project. And there will be future publications in the paper so that the public will have the ability to comment throughout the process. Financial considerations: implementation of the US 97 Whitcomb Avenue downtown redevelopment project or perfect passage will result in rate impacts to city residents as a result of the improvements. In order to mitigate and reduce the impact to the ratepayer, the city has secured $4,450,240 in grant funding. as well as $202,800 in low interest state loans in order to reduce impacts to the ratepayers. This is an extraordinary amount of grant to loan ratio, and it's something that the city should be proud of. An additional funding application with USDA Rural Development is currently in the works for $808,400. That project will be part grant and part loan. So implementation of the improvements are expected to result in business development through Tenaskeet's downtown core, sediment reduction entering area waterways, reduction or elimination of chronic flooding along Whitcomb Avenue, increasing pedestrian safety, aesthetic upgrades of the downtown core, and maintaining reliable water, sewer, and stormwater services to the city residents. Potential social and economic impacts of the alternatives, social impacts, mobility and travel impacts during construction, otherwise improvements, underground improvements invisible to the public, discussion of the ratepayer. As I mentioned, the city has secured almost $4.5 million in grant funding to $202,000 in low interest rates or low interest loans in order to reduce the impact to the ratepayer. And that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Nathan. So at this juncture, we'll open this to any questions. We may or may not be able to answer all of your questions at this juncture, but we'll take them all down and be able to provide a response when we do whatever research, depending on the questions that we get tonight.
And please speak into the mic.
Yes.
I can be the mic person. We need a mic person. Somebody want to say something? Yes, I do. Okay. Run this. It's red. Is that okay? Do you want to, let's just check to make sure they can hear you. What's the matter? Here, let me put it was green a second ago. Yeah,
Okay.
let me see 1 second.
I have a loud voice.
We know it's the people online who want to be able to hear you. So you're just like, let me see.
Nathan, can you hear us still?
I heard that last bit, but everything else was very faint.
It's
Yeah.
coming through the other mics.
We can get one of these and, oh, here we go. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, I was about to say, okay. Here we go.
We're in
Thank you.
action. Yes, we're good to go. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. It looks like you guys have found out what your funding is and what you're expecting in more funding, but what's the total cost of this project? I don't see it here. Oh. And the other thing is,
Okay.
have you considered your population of your town with set people that are on set incomes and some of them low income? What's the percentage? Have you guys checked what the percentage of people who are on low income and how that's going to affect your community? I think it's something you need to check into. Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm taking this down. Thank you.
So Joel, that's all I have to
You
say.
gonna
I
say
just,
something? I was just gonna say, before anyone else comments, can you please state your name? Because we are on a public hearing.
so you need to know my name again. It's being recorded.
being recorded,
Okay, my name is Joanne Dagnan. My first time to
No,
town.
you're doing great. Anybody else? Yeah.
One second. Does anyone want to address her questions at this juncture? Anyone from council?
So I can talk a little bit to the stormwater
Go ahead.
utility. So I don't have the numbers right in front of me. This came up 2 years ago in regards to the stormwater utility fund. And it was added onto the utility bills. And do you remember how much it ended up being?
Residential is $1.50 a month per residence and commercial is $3.
So far, any loan is Department of Ecology, and that was for the stormwater. And we set up a fund 2 years ago to help mitigate that at a very, very low cost so that we could start ahead of time on being able to pay for that and make those payments. Like Nathan mentioned, you know, we're looking at millions and millions of dollars, and we've got one loan for about 200,000. So
Tell me what the total of what your project, you're projecting it as.
So right now it's sitting, is Kurt on? Kurt, can you hear us?
I don't think Kurt can hear
I don't have
us.
my packet from our last, so each time, so it's, Of-
I can hear you. It's broken though.
okay. So each time we end up having a meeting or more funding comes in, like at one point, there was some funding that we were gonna go after, but it tied up the funds on the rest of the project, so we said no to it. The regulations on it may stretch this project out another 2 years. And between inflation and the cost that it would have taken to do the study on just that loan costs more than it would to get the money that we were going after for. So we said no to that. And so the funding strategy has changed a little bit because of issues like that have come up. But overall, Kurt, we're sitting at 9.8 total for all the phases. Is that correct? Roughly?
I don't think he can hear.
Uh,
Same as 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 9.5 million 3 years ago.
Yep.
Can I say something? Can I use a microphone? I'll give it back to you, promise.
I just want to say, we don't know. That's really the end answer, is that we don't have a final total yet because the numbers keep changing, things are moving. We have a rough estimate that we're hoping that covers everything. And so that is up in like $9 to $10 million, but really, Joanne, the answer is we don't have a final number.
Yeah,
And
and
so-
some of the things that we were looking at doing, like, didn't need to be done a certain way, but other things got added. So it's, yeah, that's
it's
why
kind of
it's
fluid.
still in that ballpark.
And so, and what and especially because of inflation and what we need to, what we're trying to spend the money on, keep that stays consistent, but how much those things cost is changing constantly. So so it's hard to say this is the final answer. But we have a number that we're hoping will cover everything as we know it right now. And that's at about 9.6 million. Does that help? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you can have it back.
So I just want to add one more thing, Joanne, because I think you said something very important. You said something about folks being on a tight budget, fixed incomes. And when the first day I started, not one council member, but several council members made sure that I knew that folks were on fixed incomes. And to be very considerate in every decision that we were making to ensure that we don't raise people's taxes or their rates. That every single decision that we make with that understanding. That's why it's taking this long to fix our infrastructure, to make sure that we have good water, to make sure that we're not flooding, because we can't just go out and get a loan. We won't do that. We won't do that. This council won't let me. Even if I wanted to, this council won't let me. So I just want to reassure you that everything we've been doing has been with our customers, which is our constituents, in mind. No, thank you. Okay. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm Jerry Osmussen. And I just, as you're moving infrastructure, and I was wondering if you were in the queue with the PUD to start moving poles, because it's getting harder and harder for us to get supplies and to get in our engineering queue. So you could be 2 years out if you're not in the right spot with us.
I know that we're in the queue. I don't know if
I think
Let's see.
Kurt's having problems.
Kurt's having problems. But what I can tell you is that we've been in communications multiple times, and we're continuing to do so, because they're gonna be a major player when we make this improvement. And a lot of the cables that are on the air, they're gonna go underneath. So we're talking to them. We've been going to the businesses as well, to make sure that we look at their basements, to make sure that there isn't,
Mhm.
what are the impacts that we're gonna have? Darren has been going with, Kurt Holland had, and with other folks. Am I correct in saying that, Darren?
Yeah.
Oh, and Joel as well. So we want feedback. This is what we want. That's why I'm so excited that everyone's here, because we've been having meetings. And a lot of times we don't get a lot of folks, and we are not very good at, putting the stuff on the newspaper. Maybe we can do that more often, but I know, we have a reporter that's here every time, and they put everything that we say, everything that we plan for, on the news, so.
And we generally do an update on the Perfect Passage, even if it's a small one, at every meeting. Every meeting we talk about this project. Sometimes we talk about it for a half an hour. Sometimes it's only 5 minutes, but yeah, every meeting we talk about the Perfect Passage.
Mayor, if I might, my name's Kurt Danis. I'm the city's planner. But to answer your question about low to moderate income, the city of Tenasket has, the last time I checked, has the highest percentage of low to moderate income residents in the county. And that is good and bad. It's good in that we've got over $4 million worth of grant funds, and we're only going to have to borrow $202,000 to do the first phase of the project. And a large reason for that is the fact that we have such a high population of low income persons. But the bright side of that is that we're able to very much limit the kinds of the money that we have to borrow, and it's at a very low interest rate, with the intent of keeping that rate increase that people are going to have to pay as small as possible. And so it works both for and against us. I mean, we don't want to have to raise rates to pay for some of this, but in the end, the amount of money we're leveraging by getting grants rather than loans is pretty phenomenal. I work with a lot of communities, and it's very rare do you see a project of this scope that is like 95 to 96% being paid for with grant dollars. And so they're doing a great job to try to protect the low income people of the community, and we're taking advantage of having low income people in our community as we go after the money.
Something else you want to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
You brought up one thing about burying power. Any thoughts on life expectancy overhead versus underground?
That's a tough one for me.
Because right now we're replacing undergrounds a lot more often than we do overheads. And so that means we're going to be going back in the ground.
Say that we aren't PUD experts. And so we're taking the information from the PUD and helping us navigate those difficult.
And we keep on bringing them to the table, and they're in contact with the engineer. So if they say, if they're going to give us information like that, then yeah, we'll have to.
If they say
rethink
don't
some
do it, we
things.
probably won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Want to be safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm back on.
Hey, Kurt.
hey, Kurt.
Council, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We had
Yep.
We did have a question, Kurt, and I don't know if you.
I don't know how long this will last, but it's gonna be is primarily the street light to street light connectors for the pedestrian lighting. And the PUD has agreed to take their crossings underground. I'm not sure who asked the question. I didn't hear a name or what they're affiliated to, but taking things underground has been kind of an industry standard alongside the interstates and things like that. I don't know what the longevity is off the top of my head, but the PUD did not bat an eye or disagree with taking the utilities underground when we met with them.
Just, it was, Mr. Osmondson, and he is our commissioner.
PUD
PUD
commissioner.
Just for your information, Kurt. Thank you, Kurt.
My name is Jenny Bartholomew, and I have two questions. One, has this been out to bid yet? Have you gotten the numbers back on the bid? And what's the start and end date for this project?
So, Kurt, you could speak to that, but it's my understanding that we're getting close to, for the project to go out to bid. It's not, no, it has not to my understanding, but things could have changed. So Kurt, has it gone out to bid? He's going in and out. You guys would know more.
No, it has not gone out for bid.
This council would know if it's gone out to bid.
Yep.
We've not gone out to bid.
It is not.
No.
No.
We're waiting to close those funding gaps. So we have some funding that we need to finalize first before we can decide to go out to bid. So until we get that final piece of the puzzle, we can't say we're going to go out and do any construction this summer. So, and that's what we're waiting for.
And that's part of this public hearing is on when when Nathan was talking about the SEPA and the NEPA and all of that has to be done. And those different pieces so that we can go out for bid. And so. How long do those pieces take? Well, there was one study that they told us was going to take a year. Another one we thought was going to take a year, and we were able to get everything done in about 4 months. This was last year. So they've had a huge each department, each agency has had a huge changeover in staff, and they're fighting with that also because now they have people that have been in these offices for 30 years that have all retired. They got brand new people in there dealing with things for the first time, and it's taking longer. So I think Kurt tried to get back on. Was Nathan trying to talk?
Nathan, did you have something to say?
Oh, I just wanted to confirm that the project has not gone out to bid.
And if we do potentially go out to bid, there is a talk of maybe being April, May, we don't really know exactly, and hopefully being wrapped up by October for this season. So the construction before winter hits. So, and hopefully one phase would be done. That would be 1st Street through 4th Street. So, but we don't know yet. We don't know all the details. So that's the hope, and that's what we're looking at. The first phase of the project, yes. Yes.
Ed said he had a question.
If we're able to start going for bid and find somebody will take the bid, because that's also been a challenge for us. I don't know what's going on. But if ideally, we need to be done by October before it starts getting cold again. So that's what we're aiming for, but we won't know until we get the process going. But we will let you guys know. We'll give you guys notice when we're getting close, so that folks will have an opportunity to know what's going on, how the roads, what side of the road is going to be worked on, all the logistics. We're going to do our best to get the word out to everyone here, or the community in general.
And the input has been to try to have construction done before harvest.
Yes.
So that's what the engineers are focusing on.
Sorry,
Yes.
between
Yes.
First and Fourth Street.
Yes.
Okay. now you got me upset.
And then there was,
Ed, did you have a question?
Yeah, just let me know.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is for the city and the engineers. How old are the numbers that you're working on? And when were they readjusted with the increase in the pricing that we're going through?
This is, let's see. Kurt's no longer on.
nope, Kurt's off.
Kurt's up.
Yes.
I could say that within the last month, is it?
Yeah, we have a giant spreadsheet that they keep adding numbers into. So it's a constant revolving number system that we get updated prices, they put it into the spreadsheet. So it's a constant working
Yep.
machine.
They find out they can do things or they can't do things or they need to do things and it's a constantly revolving. But yeah, and they just did some updates just this last month. So
It's current, Ed.
So where is this information that the public can look at?
you want me to answer? So we have had packets, and, information from the engineers. The thought is whenever if we're gonna distribute anything, to put draft on it and which date. So people understand that it was those numbers on that date. Because things are seriously changing every day right now.
And those
Right.
financials are not held here at the city. That's part of our engineering firm. That's not a city of Tenasket thing. There are numbers, but it's held in an engineering firm. So.
Right, I understand that, but I mean, this is a public project and it's taxpayer money, and it should be information that should be open to us, the taxpayers.
It absolutely is. And
It
if you
is.
want that, we can get that to you.
Please, yeah, or how to be able to get onto some type of a list where it's showing any type of updates that people can, log on to see for any changes.
I can't even do that, so.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ed, we'll work on that. Maybe.
Yeah,
we'll-
we get updates when Kurt comes. So,
Exactly.
Well, I'm back on.
Kurt,
Oh.
go ahead.
hi Kurt.
Yeah, so the council gets weekly, or I'm sorry, monthly updates. And I believe those are all public knowledge. Also, when you accept any grant or loan or update to the budget, that is also public knowledge and council has to approve that. So the budget has been updated to the council at every recipient of funds, any possible recipients of funds. Anytime we go for an application, council has to approve even the effort to get that application out. So right now we're sitting at, I think 95% grant. We're still pursuing that last $800,000. The project has been split basically in two phases. The first two blocks between 4th and 2nd, and the last block between 2nd and 1st, to ensure that there is a awardable portion of the project.
And I just want to add again, we do, even if it's not on the agenda, like when we do council updates and we all talk about, talking to Kurt or talking to somebody here or having a public works meeting in between council meetings, Elisa or I will update whoever's here or about the perfect passage and what's been happening. So We do
Okay.
talk about the perfect passage at every meeting.
Okay, that's great, but can you add it to your website? Just so on the city's website, somebody can go to it, click it, there it is, that's what's going on. Done deal.
Yeah.
The, for the project itself, or like all of our minutes are on there.
Kurt's updates. The actual packet information, the public information that you get, the updates every month. Why isn't that on the website for people to be able just to check on it and see it? Or if it is, where is it at? Because I haven't been able to see anything.
we'll work on that. I think we need to have
That's
that.
that's a good suggestion, Ed.
All right. Yeah, I'm just asking. I mean, it would just make it a lot easier and simpler. I mean, just go to the website, boom, there it is. There's the projections. Everybody has it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
And you use the perfect word, projections.
Projections.
It would
That's what
not
I'm gonna make sure.
be, it
Exactly.
would not be, this is set in stone.
Yeah, I know,
Uh,
because it's changing. I totally get it. I totally understand. But, you know, just be nice if the information was out there where we can just kind of follow along. It'd be nice.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah,
we'll work
that's
on
it.
that.
Thanks, guys.
All of our ideas are being jotted down here, just so everybody knows.
Oh, yeah.
How many, can I get raise of hands? How many folks here actually go to our website? Would that be a good place to put it? Would you guys go to it and
One.
to get all that information?
Yes.
Two,
Okay, I want to make sure because, I mean, if the website is not going to be an ideal place, maybe there's a different way to put the information out, but okay, we'll do the website.
or the Chronicles pointing at himself over
Chronic,
there.
like, I could put it.
Well, it's a document that Kurt brings with our funding strategy and what's been.
Okay, we'll work on that. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, so the big documents laminated or whatever that we've been given before, is that
These?
what, yes, is that what you're saying is Kurt's report?
No,
Okay,
Those are, Kurt's report are more like a summary.
the
of
the
financials.
Public Works Committee, when we meet, he brings.
And It's
An
not, it's
agenda.
not really a report. Like I'm struggling with the word report because it's more of just like information that's coming. Yeah. And so what I think we need to do is make a report that we can have tagged on our website. I don't think this thing exists that we're talking about. We
Right.
need to build this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
If you did it in a revenue and loss type of statement where you've got, this is the expected expenditure of the project. It shows the sources of revenue,
Yeah.
also shows the sources of revenue that the city has to come up with via is it the increase in the water sewer rates?
Stormwater.
Explain that to the citizens where their water sewer rates are going to go to.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Yeah, to date, none of the funding has resulted in any increased in water or sewer rates other than the 200,000.
George?
Okay. I had a couple things and now I have three things I'd like to talk about. Jerry brought up a good point. They've had to dig up 3 times. They've had to dig up the underground wires over by my warehouse and it's a big job. And especially when it went under the concrete, they had to break the concrete out and it was a nightmare. So we only have 2 places. One of them is down by my warehouse and that feeds all of Eneas Valley. That's a very important line. I would kind of hate to see it go underground and have trouble because Highway 20 and Eneas Valley, all that way would be without electricity. It takes them a while to fix it when it's underground. So maybe we should think about, and then one by Lee Franks, I think that's the only 2 that go across. You know, like you say, everything else is secondary lines for the street lights and stuff like that. The other thing is I've been to a few towns and the bulb outs, they have a hard time making it look decent when they plow snow at them. I don't know. Maybe Darren would disagree with me, but it looked like it was a nightmare to plow around the bulb out and get back in where the people park. And then the other thing is, that was several months ago, I noticed that. And then just like, oh, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, I went to a town and there's quite a few bulb outs that are at a place where there's no business there or whatever. And who cleans them? They were dirty. They had the sand and stuff on them. And of course, the street sweeper's not going to clean it. I don't know if that's going to be more jobs for the city to do, or if you can make so I'm still against them bulb outs. There's places for them, but I don't think our place is one of them.
Thank you. Kurt, what's the purpose of the bulb outs, please?
Yeah, so one of the biggest concerns with the city was pedestrian safety. And there has been a high number of accidents, including a pedestrian being hit in this in the span of this project. I think it's got one of the highest incidences of accidents along the highway in Okanagan County. The purpose of the bulb outs was to slow traffic down, decrease the travel for the pedestrians to get across the street, and also make them more visible to oncoming traffic, and they can see oncoming traffic easier. There was complaints. There was always complaints. There's always pros and cons to bulb outs. Early ones, the geometry weren't as snowplow friendly, but the geometry has taken that into consideration. And we do look at turning radiuses of snowplows. Another thing that they can serve for is actually being able to pile snow onto them in the wintertime to assist in the public works snow removal process. But end of the day, there's pros and cons to anything you do. But one of the number one things that the city was concerned about at the time was pedestrian safety and slowing traffic through town.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay.
Did you hear that, Kurt? They're asking can you explain piling snow on a bulb out and how that would work?
Yeah, well, you end up with looks like I might be losing you again. You have excess snow and I think typically Tenasket piles it in the center of the road. The pedestrian areas aren't as widely used in the wintertime as they are in the summertime, obviously. And there'll be areas that are going to have planter areas, and they are areas that you can pile snow on and not have to remove it from the roadway. Both from the pedestrian side, so people shoveling the sidewalks, and or from the roadside.
As a pedestrian, and that's supposed to be for pedestrians to go across the street, and I'm not exactly young, and to go over a snowbank and fall down, let me tell you, that's just about as silly as anything I've heard. I see no reason
Yeah.
for it. And I'm going to tell you what, there's always going to be somebody that thinks they're going by the law, doing what they're supposed to, and they're going to fall. And trust me, when you fall on cement, it hurts like a son of a gun, and it can take you a month or better to get better. I will attest to that personally.
So
Yeah, we're not talking about piling snow in the crosswalk area itself.
I'll say this, that safety's first. Safety's first. A lot of our townsfolk are older folks who walk to the store, young kids who use the little skates. I mean, anybody can fall. We had a pregnant woman fall on a crack. I think it was this year. A pregnant woman fell because of a smoke crack. So it, you know, when an accident is gonna happen, you don't need to have a big issue. It could happen at any time. But what I could say is this, that Darren's gonna have to work harder. If we have to get additional manpower so that we can ensure people's safety, that's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be the priority. That is the priority. Keeping our rates lower and people's safety. People should feel good to be in their town. They should feel like they're safe in their town. That same goes with our policing. Everything's about our people, that they have a good city where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe, where they feel that they can get to the store, where they feel they can get to the hospital, where they can go to the clinic and they can go to church. That will always be my stance. Go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. Darren has been at every Public Works Committee meeting. And I've never heard him say that he's going to change how he removes the snow. So, I don't see him piling it somewhere that's going to make it more difficult for him to clear. I see he's probably going to do it the same way he's doing it now. And, if there is some snow that gets piled up, we did talk about like a 2 feet area from the long curb, not the bulb out, where there could be an area where snow could get piled up from the sidewalk and it would drain in, like if there was planter areas or trees or whatever, so that it wasn't on the street, people could still park. So maybe it was more the curb than the bulb out, but I don't think Darren's gonna change the way he removes snow.
I just want to say is that new infrastructure is going to bring new problems and new solutions, and we will mitigate that as we go. We're not going to put snow where someone needs to cross a street. So I think that, we'll make sure that we are taking where we're at currently and creating a proper solution that's safe.
I'm Dave Kester again. Our rules is you guys force the city businesses and landowners to take their snow off of the sidewalks. And you say pile it up next to the street on the sidewalks. That doesn't make sense. People getting out of their car and trying to navigate to the sidewalk. They have two options: step over the snowbank that's on the sidewalk or walk to the end of the block to the crosswalk. What's your choice? But it's got to be removed from both the sidewalk and the street in order to utilize the street for parking. And I don't understand where you can possibly pile snow on a bulb out unless I haven't figured out what a bulb out is. I just don't see that.
And to your point, Mr. Kester, this year we invested in a what's the machine that we bought? In a snow blower, because there were several streets where folks couldn't walk. We had more snow this year than we've normally had, and I anticipate that we're gonna get more. So we're looking ahead into this stuff so we can work smarter and not harder. This year we had people with shovels. And we're like, let's get a machine to get this done and get it done right and get it done safely. So that's what we're looking ahead. Those are the things that I promise you, as long as I'm mayor, we'll continue to address. Let's, does anybody have any questions? Because we still have, I know there's
Online.
a lot of questions.
Yep, there's questions online.
Okay, is that Alice or? Oh, that's Alice. Okay, sorry. I thought it was Alice. Our clerk, she's on a training and her name popped up, so. So we have a question. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, there's someone who has a question.
Yeah, I just have one other. The parking, how, are you guys still sticking with your, parking, angle parking inwards? Or has that changed?
That's changed like 8 times in the last 2 years.
So Ed, if you just imagine where we're at right now, how everybody's parking in the crosswalks, if you just take everything up and then put everything back down new, that's how it's going to be.
That's how it's gonna be.
So
Beautiful.
it's all like parallel parking, no angled parking.
Yep.
Thank you so much. That is the best news ever I've heard
Yeah.
with that.
We had a lot of people give us different ideas and they got sketched out. And as soon as people saw them, they didn't like them. And so new ideas went to the engineer and they made more drawings and still didn't like them. So yeah, it's changed a lot, but we're pretty much back to focusing on the infrastructure, getting community input on what they want it to look like when it gets put back together. And it's going to be pretty much the same.
Great. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, you do, because they need to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's recorded.
Did he say there's going to be planters on the bulb outs?
No. There's gonna.
Yes, possibly, and no.
Bulb outs?
I want to say, there's no final answer.
Okay.
We don't have a final answer because we don't have a final drawing. We haven't gone out to bid. But there's possible planters and flowers and things around. We don't know exactly where they're going yet. So we're looking at.
There was a gentleman, wasn't there a gentleman back? Did you have a question, sir? The one with the hat? Oh, you didn't? Okay, no, the other hat. Yeah, sorry.
The other hat.
Okay.
So anyway, if you put planters there, how are people in wheelchairs gonna see over them to see if anybody's coming? With
The,
stuff goes
the
up out of the
proposed,
planters.
Go ahead.
the
Go ahead,
proposed
sir.
plants are short.
Safety first.
Safety first.
It's too big. We'll cut it
Okay.
down.
You're breaking up again.
Hey,
Yep.
This is, do we have any other questions?
Well,
I wanna,
I've
oh.
got one comment here.
okay.
It was my understanding that we knew that the whole idea of planters was nixed a long time ago.
Planters in the middle of the highway was nixed a long time
Well,
ago.
Down-
there were also the planters on the sidewalk were nixed. So,
We'll look into it. We'll look
okay,
into
let's
it.
look into it.
We'll look into it.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a real credibility problem here.
Well, we keep
Well,
on, well, hey, hold on a minute. Not necessarily. We've never stopped having these, we talk about the perfect passage all the time. We have a public works meeting every single month and more ideas. Nothing's ever been set in stone, actually 100%. We keep on having meetings, people come with new ideas. That's why we've had a number of drawings that are no good anymore because things keep on changing. And if someone comes in and says, yeah, I want some planters, then the next drawing just might have some planters. And the trees, nobody wanted trees. Some people wanted trees. Okay, let's just put a couple trees. So then there's a couple trees instead of 8 trees on a street, there's 3 trees on a street. So everything's been, lots of people have talked to Elisa, come into City Hall. They've made runs and talked to different businesses. Everyone has had different input. And so it's not one person didn't want flowers or planters, so now we didn't do them. Now planters also, we talked about flowers up on the light poles. So it's just different ways. It's not set in stone, but I don't remember us ever saying absolutely not, never going to talk about it again. It's done.
Actually, I've been coming to these quite a bit and it just looks to me like we've gone round and round and round. And we leave here thinking that it's been settled. And we don't, with this, the meetings and COVID and a lot of us not choosing to come because we couldn't get in here. You need to quit making changes all the time. Either stick with it or just because one person comes in and says they want a flower, big darn deal. I mean, as far as I can see, and we said we didn't want to have trees in the sidewalk because they came up and they'll crack your sidewalk eventually. I thought we could read on that. Apparently not. There's no sense coming to these meetings and having the input and it all gets changed. What's the point?
But at the meetings where we talked about trees, we talked about the type of box that they're put in. We had these discussions.
I guess I'm just lonely old person that didn't catch it. But I tell you what, I catch some of the times when things get changed and changed and changed.
We've been changed a lot, yes.
Yes, they have. And nobody sticks to their guns.
The trees that have been planted downtown are in a 3 to 4 foot diameter culvert, plastic culvert. That's probably in the neighborhood of 10 foot to 8 foot deep. So the roots do not come back up. However, this year we will spend, just for the few trees we have, over $800 just to prune them. Now, a lot of businesses aren't going to spend that kind of money to prune them. So you got that in your budget. It's not expensive. It is expensive to have trees and the cleanup. And we went through this. Joanne and I've been going to these meetings now for over 20 years. And every time it comes right back to what the original 3-ring binder had in it. It doesn't matter how much the public has input. It comes right back to the originators of the plan that comes out of Olympia.
One more. Your name, please.
Who makes the final decision? Yep, this is how it's going to be and we're done talking about it. Who does that?
So I guess that would be
That's council.
council.
The Public Works Committee will make a final suggestion or recommendation to council, and council will vote on it. And that'll be before it goes out to bid. Before it goes out to bid. Because we'll have to decide on things. But yeah, it's been ever evolving.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So I'm not as familiar about the bid process. So say you mentioned April, May, somebody did. If the bid process takes longer, say there's not anybody bidding on it, then you're into May or June and you're hoping to be done by October. How does that work to get it completed?
Kurt, did you hear her question?
Yeah. So a similar project was done 10 years ago in Republic. They did 6 blocks, storefront to storefront, reconstructed very, very similar to what we're saying. And it was 6 blocks and they did it in a construction season. We're talking about a base bid of 2 blocks and a Schedule A of an additional block. I've had an independent contractor review the documents, the bid estimate, and the construction schedule, and they don't see getting the project done in 4 months being a problem.
So Kurt, just to clarify, so 4 months, right? So let's say we can't get a bid, right? And it's, I don't know, July or August. Do we then move to the following year?
Oh, you froze again.
He can't hear you.
Okay. We will have an answer.
Yeah, you were breaking up again.
Did we schedule our next Public Works meeting?
I'm bringing that up during my reports.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go over. I can't remember. Yeah, Kurt, we can't hear you, so we're gonna move on, but we'll have that information for you, for sure. But my thought process is, and again, I'm not a construction, maybe Mr. Kester can help us here. But the weather basically dictates what we can and cannot do. And so depending on the weather and depending on how far we go forward, like how late, we may have to move it forward, right? But we have about 4 months to work with. We have a 4-month window. At least that's the example he gave of something very similar that was done in Republic. So but you guys will know, as soon as we know, we get the bid, you guys will know if it's happening this year or if it's happening the following year, because I'm assuming as a business owner, that's what you want to know. I need to prepare for this, right? I'm assuming, so definitely we'll have that ready for you. Okay, any other questions? I want to say thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for being here. It's important. This is what we need. We need that feedback and just know that this council has been working really, really hard for the city of Tenasket to get this project. This is about taking our infrastructure and investing in it so that we have it for 40 years from now, right? 50 years from now for our children. So they have a Tenasket that's gonna be working for them. We don't wanna wait another 20 or 30 years and then have our water not work or our whatever's down there not work, or the floods get worse, whatever it may be. So this is an investment for our future. And I want to thank our council members, every single one of them that has been working really hard on this process, and on the townsfolk that have been here. Like, several of the folks here have said they've been here multiple years, bringing up their ideas. And we want to make sure that everybody's voices is heard. And we want to make sure that everybody's informed. So we're gonna continue to inform everyone.
Can I
Yes, ma'am.
address that real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to address communication. So we have established a Facebook page for the city that we're going to start putting out information on. Gay later is going to hopefully tell us about Text My Gov, which is an opt-in system where we can communicate and send messages. We have our website that hopefully will have that report, a report of some sort that we can put on there. We are trying to find proactive ways of communicating, so it's not reactive, so we can inform you as we're going prior to things happening. So that is our mission. We are working on that, but we have established, we are just now hopefully rolling out with Text My Gov, and you'll hear about that later. I'm just worried you're gonna take off before we talk about those things, so.
Don't take off.
I wanna say
Exactly.
Those things
We have
prior to
you.
you leave. So, I know it's already been an hour, but.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if he likes that though. Okay, next on the agenda, go ahead.
No,
Okay, this public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Next, Kurt Dennison.